Hello everyone and welcome to another MechLord video. This time we're going to be talking about Rush Duel again, because the new Gaia structure deck has already made waves in the competitive Rush Duel community, and it might just be the single best deck of the upcoming format, even though it has taken many forms. One such form is the form that you see before your very eyes, the HERO Gaia deck, that uses the skill Chivalrous Celerity in order to get missing pieces in order to fuse with, which is an incredibly intelligent use of the skill, just in order to get some of your missing avians or Bastionatrix in order to then fuse into either Flame Wingman or the new Burst Wingman, which is able to grow itself to a really big number and then pop a back row. That's a really good card, that's a really good combo, and that's a really good deck, but it is not the best Gaia variant out there. I misled you. There is one variant that has been doing even better, and this variant is the Metarion variant, which uses, of course, the classic cards of Imaginary Actor as long as a couple of fusion material in order to go into Ashurastar and Vitrastar. These two have been chosen specifically because they're the best one out of the Metarion fusion bunch. Ashurastar is just still an OTK enabler and a really powerful card, and Vitrastar can take care of problematic cards by switching them to defense positions, and is really good against some of the dragon-centric decks of this metagame. This version, in my opinion, is a bit better because it does get to leverage very specifically star restarts in order to revive the fusion materials that you might be needing. And the Metarion fusion are overall a bit better than the Hero fusion. There's the fact that Ashurastar can pop a face down card, which comes up a lot and gives the deck a lot of OTK potential even through set monsters and even through back row. This is, for the time being, the best version of what is currently the best deck on ladder. Of course, there is nothing stopping you from playing any version of Gaia that you like, or even a different deck. I think different decks are still able to compete in this metagame, but do expect the SGR Festival to be full of Gaia decks and decks that you should be ready for. So, the deck list is pretty much the same as the previous Gaia deck list. We're playing 3 battle-tested Gaia, which is able to fuse on its own with the 3 Curse of Dragons. We're not playing the regular Gaia anymore because why would we? It's not really a good card. We have a plan B in case we don't get to do the Gaia plan A. Or is the Metarion plan the plan A actually? Well, we're playing 2 Imaginary Reactor, not nearly as good without Monster Reincarnation, but still able to turn itself into Imaginary Reactor for our fusions. 2 Imaginary Actors, Serpenters, and Sword Dancers. We can Foolish with this skill any missing combo piece that we need in order to revive with Star Restarts. We also have the Rising Light Angel Assault, which can fuel our graveyard and sometimes gets to revive something cool, which I really appreciate. And the rest of the deck is pretty standard. What's really more interesting about this deck and this skill in general is the combo potential that it unlocks, and that cannot be explained because there's not like a single combo line. It's really independent and situation dependent, and that's what I really like about this deck and skill. But instead of yapping about this deck, why don't I just show you what it is capable of? This first replay is going to be against another Gaia player. This was my rank up game from Bronze to Silver this season. I didn't make it to GOG last season, so I started in Bronze this season. It's kind of embarrassing, I think about it, but it's completely fine. We're going second, open a hand of, like, decent, a couple of combo pieces, but not really anything that stands out on its own, until I draw the Curse of Dragon, which ties it all together. Tributes Imaginary Reactor for Curse of Dragon, set to summon the battle-tested Gaia, which I'm going to use its effect to fuse into the Swift Gaia, the Dragon Champion, which gets me another draw in the form of Negate Attack. Then activate the skill Chivalrous Celerity in order to give it some big numbers attack for 32 piercing damage. That's a lot of the damage. My opponent will reveal that they are on the Hero Gaia and they're going to activate Fusion here and fuse it to Elemental Hero Burst Wingman, a really good card on its own, TVH. And they're going to pop, but unfortunately for them, they do pop my Dragon's Inferno and not, you know, something more consequential. They're going to activate the skill in order to boost their little guy into an even bigger guy. Activate the Rising Hero Argent in order to try and get another fusion going on, but unfortunately for them, they're not going to be able to reveal anything real. They're going to try again with the second Argent, and yeah, this time they're going to get one Burst in the tricks, which Yes, it's something, but your field is clogged and you can't really do anything about it. Sure, you can tribute summon the Curse of Dragon and try to attack for a massive amount of damage, but I do have the negate attack, which is still a very polarizing card in this game. This time around, I'm going to be able to bring back the Imaginary Actor with the Star Restart, use my skill in order to get a Sword Dancer and a Polymerization. I'm going to fuse both of these with the regular fusion in order to go into Metarion Ashurastar, use the Metarion Ashurastar to boost it to an insane attack value, because most monsters on my opponent's field are in fact warriors, and I'm just popping off at this point. I'm just flexing, I'm just showing off because I have 17 times lethal. And yeah, Ashurastar for lethal, it is still something that can happen to you, especially in this meta game. So, defeating the lesser Gaia variants in order to win seems thematically appropriate. This here replay is going to show you that sometimes you don't even need Gaia stuff. You don't even need to do any of the Gaia stuff. The Metarion stuff is just good enough as is. Let me demonstrate. So once again, I'm going second. I already have one of the fusions unlocked because I am just good at this game. My opponent is going to set to Tribute Set and set to back row as well. I have no idea what they're playing. I'm going to start with Imaginary Reactor to try and put some stuff in my graveyard, then normal the Serpainter into a fusion, fuse into Metarion Vitrastar, and instead I'm like, wait, do I use the Vitrastar effect to flip? Nah, I'm just going to use my skill to get a Poly and a Curse of Dragon, which I'm going to purge back in order to bring back the Sword Dancer that I foolish with the skill, normal the Imaginary Actor, and then fuse into Metarion Ashurastar. The skill allowed me to extend in a way that would not have been possible with the previous Metarion skill, the HERO Gaia exclusive one, and clear my opponent's board of exactly one Star Dragon. It could have been an AGG, which is why I didn't want to risk it. And the back row turned out to not be anything, which means I just have lethal. And last but not least, here is another replay against another Gaia deck. I think my wake up just bugged right now. I'm not sure, because I didn't really see it. Anyway, my opponent is going to go first once again. I really like the fact that I keep going second with this deck that is much better at going second very specifically. They're going to normal summon a couple of dragons and then tribute set something very sneaky. So it would seem that they're on the pure variant using dragon monsters. Imaginary Actor is going to mill negate attack because of course it is. And then I'm going to tribute the Actor and the Reactor for the battle-tested Gaia, use the skill to foolish a Curse of Dragon, and then this is going to turn my Battle Seed Gaia on, allowing it to fuse into Gaia, Conqueror of Champions. I go for this Gaia because I want to pop this back row, which turned out to be a negate attack. Star Restart is going to be able to bring back both the Imaginary Actor and the fusion that I mailed with the Reactor, which combined with the Sword Dancer in hand means that I get to go into Metarion Ashurastar and normal summon the Serpainter for what is pretty much just lethal. That's just lethal. Can't do anything against. I popped 2 cards with these 2 fusions, and it's just lethal. This deck is kind of absurd. So that's the deck. Both versions that I showcased in today's video will be featured in the video description. So if you'd like to copy my list, just go to the video description and click on the links. And yeah, that's the deck. It is really bonkers. It is a really strong deck with a really strong skill. And as much as I enjoy it, I should admit that the skill probably should get fixed a little bit. Maybe you should have more restrictions on the type of stuff that you can play in order to make it more Gaia-centric. I do love the fact that you can play non-Gaia normal monster fusion centric stuff, and I think it's really interesting that a lot of people came up with HERO and Metarion builds. I think this is a really ingenious use of this skill, and this is the kind of creativity that I think skill should encourage. This being said, the skill is also a bit too pushed at the moment, and the fact that this deck has completely taken over the metagame is not necessarily a good sign. I do like it when skills get creative, but I also like it when the metagame is fair and balanced, and I think there's maybe ways to adjust this skill in order to make it less obscene and allow all the decks to have a fighting chance. It's kind of disappointing that none of the decks from the newest mini box really made a competitive push. There's the water stuff that's it's decent, right, but it's not as good as Gaia. There's the pyro stuff that's I think is fine, but it's not as good as Gaia. There's the new Light Galaxy and Joint Tech stuff that I don't think has any competitive tournament results yet. The thing is, Gaia is everything and it's going to be everywhere, and it is by far the best thing you can be playing, and that is not necessarily a good thing, but it is also a deck that has some combos and important sequencing in it that, you know, I can't really hate to the extent that I hate Dragonic Contact Hero, because I've been complaining about that for a while. But what do you think about this Gaia deck? Do you think it's fine? Or is it too obscene? Do you wish for it to be nerfed after this Goa Rush Festival? Which version do you personally prefer to play? Let me know in the comments of this video, and maybe I will give this version a try. As for today's video, that will be it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And if you'd like to support me financially, make sure to check my Ko-fi in the video description, where you can make a one-time donation or a monthly pledge. I would like to thank my Ko-fi donators in the form of Dinkus, Xenia, Outage Boy 0, Jimmy, Yannick Seal, Mark Lu, Fortunello16, the Abyssactor Guru, Exorcist, and Orc Price. Thank you all for your support. It is really appreciated. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all next time.